Ennis. Twitter. New beginning. It's time. Welcome to the team, Jaron Ennis. The IBF 147-pound welterweight champion. 31-0. 28 inside the distance. 26 years of age. Is now signed to Matchroom. Yes, people. Boots Ennis is now a Matchroom fighter. Whew. Huge. Yo, it looks like Conor Ben. Next up, bruh. Conor Ben next up. Boots, Conor Ben. Let's get it. The Zone, Matchroom. That's why Conor posted up that fight poster of him and Boots on his IG. And Boxing 24, garbage ass site, but fuck. You know what I mean? They were saying it was a publicity stunt by Conor. Nah, apparently not. Apparently not. To be honest, I thought the Boots, the Zone deal was dead in the water. But yo, Matchroom pulled it off, bro. Matchroom pulled it off. So it's a multi-fight deal. Eddie said Boots has the potential to be a household name. I've looked at a lot of the pro PBC channels. They're shocked. It's rocked them to their foundations. Apparently Mayweather and TMT were looking to secure that signature and get him on the PBC. And he's went over to Matchroom. It's a huge scalp, a huge blow to the likes of Leonard Ellerby, who was talking all that dead zone shit. Huge blow. Massive scalp for Matchroom and the Zone. More importantly, like he said, he's been out of the ring for a year and he cannot wait to get back and do what he does best. Entertain fans and put on clinics. Alright, so the Isaac Chamberlain British title defence against Chev Clark was ordered 2 months ago. Today was the day of the purse bid. Team Chev Clark drove down to Cardiff, where the British Boxing Board of Control's headquarters are, to bid in what would have been by far the biggest purses of both Chev Clark and Chamberlain's career. Instead, Isaac Chamberlain's team chose to vacate just an hour before the bid. 5th pullout in a row, according to Eddie Hearn. So he's talking about Wardley Clark, Opataya Riakporhe, Beatrice Ferreira, Caroline Dubois, Dalton Smith, Adam Azim, and now Chev Clark, Isaac Chamberlain. Who's next in line to fight Chev Clark? I'm not sure. The British Boxing Board of Control no longer have a rating system. I don't like the other rating systems that some try to implement for the British fighters. Not very impressive. Let's keep it real though. Ben Shalom is in the firing line, but it's Sky Sports money and ultimately their decision, their final decision on what goes on the screen, not Ben Shalom. So this pullout is not unexpected, following an obvious pattern. Just after he was talking about, let's sit down and talk, Eddie. Let's sit down and talk and make fights. So what's next for Chev? Perhaps Jordan Thompson, unless he's moving up. There's cruiserweights out there. What about Jack Massey? That would be a good fight. He's a good fighter. He's not going to turn it down. And when are the media, who say they're covering boxing, going to address this issue properly? 5 pullouts in consecutive purse bids is what we're dealing with. 6, actually. It's 6. Yeah? Because not only was Dalton Smith mandated to fight for Adam Azim's European title, Adam Azim was mandated to fight for Dalton Smith's British title. So it's 6 pullouts. Okay, I just found this. Isaac Chamberlain is going to go for the European title against Mikhail Shalak, Polish fighter, 25-2-0. Isaac is 16-2-0. And they're saying Isaac has exercised his right as mandatory challenger to fight for the EBU European title as he steps from domestic level. So he's vacated the British title and targeted European glory. Now that's fair enough, yeah? But why wait until the day of the purse bid again? Is this to cause controversy? Is this the only way they can promote their fighter? By doing this? It seems like a marketing strategy now. Now Shalak is a decent fighter. He lost in a title challenge against Lawrence Okoli a couple of years back, where once again Lawrence Okoli, his reputation was being dragged through the mud for excessive holding. So they're saying here, Isaac continues his rise through boxing as he aims to add the European title to his list of accolades, which include British, Commonwealth, IBF International and Southern Area, on his journey to world honours. Now, in a way, they have a good alibi
A near perfect alibi. They're obviously going to argue that the European is a step up from the British. And they're going to say Shellac is a better fighter than Chev Clark, who's only had 8 fights. I will say this though. The Chev Clark fight in London is bigger than an Isaac Chamberlain Shellac fight in London. And I'm not saying that Clark is a better fighter than Shellac, because Shellac has had 3 times the amount of fights and has challenged for cruiserweight titles against the likes of Junior Makabu, and actually gave him a decent fight. But the last time he was over here, he was in a stinker of a fight against Lawrence Okoli. And I'm not saying it was Shellac's fault. It was Okoli doing a lot of the spoiling. Well, at least most of it. But he doesn't have no profile over here. Chev has a bigger profile in London, in England. So we know what their alibi is going to be, but it's still 5 on the bounce, and you're still waiting until the day of the purse bid to withdraw, like they did with Fabio and Frazier. Unless the European fighter coming over to the UK is a hot commodity, a domestic showdown wins out all the time. All the time. That's the bottom line. There'll be a few weirdos who are going to say this is a power move, but let's say they're right, and Shellac is a better fighter than Chev Clark. Well, you've bought yourself an extremely tough fight, a risky fight, and Isaac better hope that Sky put a hefty bid in, because if that goes over to Poland and it's a contentious decision, Isaac's not getting the decision, and that's a hostile environment. Ask Alan Babbage about his trip to Poland against Lucas Rozansky. He actually warned Lawrence Okoli to prepare for a very frosty reception when he gets over there. So that's not going to be an easy assignment if it ends up in Poland. There's going to be a few anti-Matchroom weirdos. They're out there, and these people are fucking weird, right? They're going to be saying this is a power move. It's not no power move. The only reason they're making this decision is because they can't keep the Chev Clark-Isaac Chamberlain fight in-house. That's why they're making a lot of these decisions. They don't want their fighters to fight on the Matchroom, the Zone platform. And the fucked up thing is they don't want the Matchroom fighters to fight on their platform unless they can sign them into a long-term deal. Eddie's offered Boxer the fight, the Dalton Smith fight. Offered them it. Offered them to name their price for the Beatrice Ferreira, Caroline Dubois fight. Offered. And it seems strange. Isaac invaded Vidal's interview after Vidal beat Lawal on the Wardley Clark undercard, and then went on Sky Sports saying, yeah, we're going to make this fight next. And then Chev went to invade the interview as well, because he's the Mando. Then they made their little diversion and took the cameras off, pretending Chev doesn't exist, even though he's the mandatory. And now it's went from, let's make Isaac versus Vidal to Shellac. Just like the Harlem Eubank decision, they didn't have this in the stash for weeks or months. They're having to pluck fights from out the sky when they're backed into a corner. Oh, we'll vacate. We've got another fight. No, it's rushed damage control. That's what it is. How much they going to pay out for Isaac to have the hometown advantage? That Polish assignment ain't easy. You know what I mean? These fights, they haven't been thought through thoroughly. Harlem Eubank versus Azim, they're going to have to pay Harlem a fortune. It's not signed, and they've announced it. Rush damage control. You really think Ben Shalom wants to send Isaac to Poland to fight Shellac? You really think that? Am I 100% sure Isaac wants to go over there? I'm not sure. We'll see. They're using the rankings as a convenient out. And it's hard to argue, you know, WBC of Shellac ranked number 2, Siobhan Clark's ranked number 15. The WBA have Siobhan Clark ranked at number 4. Shellac is not ranked with the WBA. IBF have Shellac ranked at number 6, Siobhan is ranked at number 10, and the WBO have Shellac ranked at number 2. So if Isaac beats Shellac, he walks straight into a world title shot. In saying that, if he beats Siobhan Clark, who's ranked number 4 by the WBA, it wouldn't be too far off a title shot, but this is a direct route. It's more or less an eliminator for Isaac. So I can't argue with that, and I'm not going to try and argue. The thing is, why hang on to belts though and wait till the day of the purse, or with the Dalton and Azim situation, just hanging on to the belt for no reason? Just vacate. Just vacate. And go do what you're doing. Shellac and Chamberlain, huge fight in Poland, and if we're talking strictly boxing, I really like the fight. I really do. They better make that fight though. They better make that fight. Thinking about it now, Siobhan Clark will fight for the vacant belt, and I think the next up is Vidal Riley. Matchroom and Boxer. It's getting fucking boring. Of course, Isaac replied to Eddie, cry some more. I'm going for bigger things. We ain't dancing to your tune, you silver spoon baby. Eddie Hearn replies, "You are clueless." Now, I don't want to get at Isaac, but when did it become a win telling rich people you're rich when you're having an argument? Look at you, you're rich. Ha! Okay, Isaac, you win.
Before I start, I just want to say a massive shout out to Turkey Al Sheikh and all of everyone who's working in Saudi Arabia. Eid Mubarak to all you guys, and have a fantastic day. And the answer to your question is, yeah, I'm training hard, obviously. I know all boxers say the same old shit, like I've had a fantastic training camp, yada, 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 but I actually am having a fantastic training camp and got a good team around me and everything's going to plan. No complaints, working very hard. Got my dad in camp this time, so got my secret weapon over there as well.
And they've brought Big John in. Must be serious, eh? What was the point of this press conference, more importantly? I think it was just to assure people that Tyson Fury is going to turn up. And we assume he is going to turn up now. Assure us that he's training, he's fitter than ever, stronger than ever. I'm not saying he's shot to pieces, though I have my suspicions. I don't believe that one training camp can fix what we saw against Ngannou. I don't believe he underestimated him. I don't believe he undertrained. I don't believe none of that. I don't believe losing a whole load of weight is going to make a difference to how he performs against Usyk. I don't believe none of that. I believe the sporting world, the boxing world have lost confidence in Fury because of a dip in performances, because of all the demands he made before the Usyk fight crashed last year, his contradictions and the nonsense he says to the media. And this is their attempt to assure us that he's fighting fit and ready to go. We also got the obligatory, he's a foreigner, speaks broken English. I mean, like, no one pulls him up on it, but the same people will be quick to talk about AJ's racist.
He doesn't speak English, for one, so he speaks a little bit of English, but it's very difficult to speak to a encyclopedia in boxing who speaks fluent English when you speak broken English. So I don't think you're ever going to get a foreigner sitting up here with me. You get any American, any British fighter I've ever fought in nearly 20 years as boxing, no one has ever competed with me on speaking. So especially not some foreign man who speaks broken English.
Xenophobic. Having or showing a dislike of or prejudice against people from other countries.
Had to do the maths. An unbeaten Amir Khan suffered his first official knockdown as a pro against Willie Lemond, a relatively light-hitting Scottish lightweight. In my opinion, there was another knockdown Khan suffered before that, but you know what I mean? It was touch and go, yeah? But this one here was on ITV. Khan was dominating the fight with fast hands. Willie was still in the fight, and when he landed them shots in the sixth and had Khan all over the place and put him down, it was at that point there we realized that Khan had suspect whiskers. But, you know, as true as that may be, he's very brave. He got through that, came back and floored Willie in the seventh and stopped him in the eighth. Willie, however, at 45 years of age, is still fighting and was preparing to fight Joe Laws in Scotland. They found him unresponsive in a residential street in Glasgow, and they're saying it's a suspected seizure. He's in critical. Now, it's too early to jump to conclusions of what happened. We wish him a speedy recovery. We hope the Lord is looking down on him and his family. Simple as that.